Special good morning to one and all. Welcome to another edition of To The Point here on Classic Radio 105.5 and 105.9. Good morning to the listeners of Classic Radio. Let's say good morning also to the viewers of GBN TV, whether you're viewing Channel 7, Channels 11 or Channels 20. Good morning. Thanks for being with us this morning. Let's say good morning to our social media audience, also those of you via our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. Good morning and welcome to another edition of To The Point for today, Thursday, the 23rd day of March. And as usual, and if you look to my immediate right, you will notice I have members of the Grenada Police Force with me this morning. And with me I have Constable Troy Paul, and we say good morning to you, Constable Paul. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning to you and also to your listeners.
All right, then we have Superintendent Harley George with us this morning also. Good morning to you, sir, and welcome.
Pleasant good morning. It's a pleasure being here, and good morning to the listening audience.
All right. Well, this morning our discussion will be focused on the upcoming games with Grenada versus the United States. We talk about that football match that is coming up. We anticipate it, of course. Lots of folks will be going out to view that game, and I'm assuming there will be loads of arrangements from the police point of view that they will be implementing. For the overall safety of patrons, your players, and everything in general, I would say.
Yes. Yes. The police is quite ready. We have organized our operational plan and has stood up all the security mechanisms in preparation for this highly anticipated, I should say, match between Grenada and the USA. From the inception of the team, which is the USA, which is arriving today, there are security arrangements in place for that, and the security arrangements for the patrons, the prospective patrons that are coming to the game. There's a traffic plan, and Constable Paul would speak directly to the traffic plan. Some of the things I want patrons to be mindful of in making their way to the game. One of the first things that you would see is the soft ticket checkpoint. That's where you would be checked to ensure that you have a ticket before entering the grounds.
All right.
No person not holding a ticket will be allowed entry into the grounds. Entrance to the stadium, the main stadium, would be through the gates D and C. As you approach the gates, another thing you would come into contact with is the security checkpoint. There you will be screened by officers and private security. Screened for what we refer to as offensive weapon, or items that are prohibited from persons using to enter the game. Things like knives. I hope people won't come with cutlasses. Large coolers are not allowed as well. Guns are not allowed, and as I speak to the issue of guns here, there are persons who hold a license for arms and may have it on their person, might just forget. So a gentle reminder here, do not come to the games with your license for arms. Secure them at home or at the nearest police station on your way to the games. We would not advise, or we strongly advise that you should not leave it in your vehicle or secure it in your vehicle coming to the games. So we are prepared and are ready to deliver. There is security arrangements for the players, security arrangements around the pitch. And at this point, on behalf of GFA, I would say that the stadium is almost sold out. It was in a meeting yesterday, and I understand it's trending to over 5,000 tickets almost sold already. So the main stand is sold out. So we're expecting a very large crowd, and so the security arrangements have been implemented to ensure that we have a safe and incident-free activity or event.
All right. Let me ask you this. How important it is for the Royal Grenada Post to make sure that the security of this particular event is at a high level?
This is critically important. This is the United States of America team, and wherever they travel in the world, there's always that that security element. As we're quite aware, the issue of attacks against the U.S. is always quite eminent. Although we do not have any immediate security alerts or threats, but we remain highly observant and vigilant, so that we are not blindsided.
All right. Now, you spoke a lot about, of course, the screening process that the individuals may have to go through in terms of when they were attending the game from the onset. So we know when the individual come, you said from the soft tickets, everyone will be checked, make sure that you do have a ticket to get in first. I understand from that point of view, you make sure the individual have the ticket. Then from where does the process go from there?
Well, the soft ticket checkpoint would be.
Would the police be in charge of that, or would be the organizers?
No, the police would be in charge of the soft checkpoint, together with private security, and there's also the stadium security. So there are three levels of security.
Okay.
That would be operating on the grounds. So the soft ticket checkpoints would be closer to the entrance of the stadium gates. Not the gates entering into the stadium itself.
Okay.
Yeah, the gates entering into the parking area. When you come through those gates, that's where the soft ticket checkpoints. Yeah.
Now, from the Royal Grenada Police Force, we know patrons attending the games, they're coming to cheer for the team. I'm assuming Grenadians will be cheering for Grenada, it's really obvious. You understand? What are some of the behavior patterns that what you expect individuals to behave themselves in a particular way? Is there any concern that the folks have about pertaining to that in terms of individuals' behavior? What would you like to give them in terms of advice in terms of the behavioral pattern that you will be expecting?
Well, this is a football match, and the patrons are there to cheer on their teams. It's an exciting time, and everybody would want their team to win. So we encourage and we expect the mood to be one of excitement, jubilance, and so on. But we do not want patrons to come with. We expect flags to be flown. But one of the things on the prohibited list would be that large flags that would affect other person viewing the game.
All right.
So we encourage an atmosphere of excitement and fun and good rivalry, and what we've known for in Grenada, the Grenadian spirit. So we encourage that.
All right.
But,
all right, interesting. We'll be due for a first break. Let's take it. Then we come back. Of course, when we come back, we will be speaking to Constable Paul, and he will, of course, give us the traffic arrangement. We will come back and speak into Superintendent George. We return also and get more insights in terms of the overall security that expected at the game coming up. We're coming back after the break, folks. Stay with us here on Classic 105.5 and GBN TV. It's to the point.
Stars annual Easter clearance sale is here, and boy, do we have some exciting deals for you. Massive savings on tires to be had with discounts from 10 to 35% off on all tires store-wide. Buy all we have in the low stock model and watch your discounts skyrocket with a huge 50% off. Plus, get chip edge tires for as low as $1. Yes, we're clearing out our old stock to bring in the new. And that's not all. The Easter Bunny has added extra savings on tubs, bathroom vanities, tile tools, and so much more. It won't get any Visit our Island Style showroom on Monroe Road in Grenada or call 439-TILE. That's 439-8453. Sale ends Holy Saturday. When you think tile, think Island Style.
Customers and experts have tested Dormer's high-impact windows and realized just how durable they are. Forget burglar proofing. Get 20 years warranty on frames, sea blast resistance, no rust or corrosion, and value for your money. Visit Caribbean Shutters, Windows and Doors for Dormer's quality UPVC solutions.
Do you know, when you play the games of the National Lotteries Authority, you are supporting sports, culture, and nation building in Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitimaknik?
Hi, I am Junior Murray, cricket coach, sports enthusiast, and a former West Indies cricketer. I endorse the games of the NLA 100%. For the past 40 years, the NLA has been funding many sporting activities, including competition for schools and clubs, and for athletes to participate in overseas tournaments such as the Carifta Games and the regional cricket tournaments. Additionally, they made it possible for you, the public, to view local, regional, and international tournaments from the comfort of your homes. For those reasons, I play the game of the NLA. Even if I do not win, I know Grenada always wins.
Yes, when you play all the games, the NLA in turn supports sports, culture, and nation-building activities throughout the Tri-Island state.
Health, are you ready? Good. At the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs, we have prioritized as well as branded the year 2023 as the year of mental health and wellness. So we are extremely excited about it. Staff is excited about it. So thank you very much. Let's rock.
Shift the paradigm. Mobilize and get back
Grenada. This is the big one. The countdown has begun for the grand launch of Project Grenada Shifts. Safer, healthier, innovative moves for a transformative society. This mega event takes place on Thursday, 23rd March at Lassages Plainfield, St. David, with a massive health and wellness fair from 12 noon. A wellness walk from 5 p.m. led by Prime Minister, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, and Health Minister Senator, the Honorable Jonathan Lecret, from the St. David Health Center to Lassages Springfield. Fitness drills, health screenings, loads of entertainment, and much more, all powered by Wakati Sound System. So register early to get your t-shirts and paraphernalia by contacting the Ministry of Health on telephone 440-2649, extension 21021, or the St. David Health Center at 444-6249. Mark your calendars and join us. Move that body. Take full control of your health and wellness. This event is organized by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs.
Let me say welcome back, listeners and viewers, to the point for today, Thursday. And I have with me this morning, representing the Royal Grenada Police Force with me this morning. We have the Central Division Traffic Department with me this morning. And we're talking security. I would say, if I could use a word in between, the protocols that were expected for the upcoming game between the football game. That's between Grenada and the United States. That game is coming up. And we will continue with Superintendent George for a wee bit in terms of our conversation this morning. Let's talk about the vending, the requirements, the protocols for vending and so forth that is expected. What would the police look forward to in terms of for vendors? What are the requirements for vending and so forth?
Okay, this is an international event. It's CONCACAF international event. And as such, the protocols for that must be observed. Vending is strictly within the stadium, strictly within the stadium. So vending outside of the stadium, the immediate environs of the stadium is strictly prohibited. And I want to emphasize that because For major events in the past, we have persons just piggybacking on the event, so to speak, and encroaching on the environs. But we'll be very forthright in dealing with that. There is an area, I think Troy Paul would speak more specific to it, that would be allocated for vending outside of the stadium. The stadium grounds is prohibited completely. So there are vendors that are signed up with the GFA, and that will be vending on the inside of the stadium. But outside of the stadium, the ring road and the immediate environs of the stadium is strictly prohibited.
Right. You know, you said before, vendors who've been permitted to vend, because you know from time to time we hear those protocols implemented where, of course, sale of alcohol within the compound is not permitted, especially bottles, or would that be included or not? No use of bottled drinks and so forth. That, I mean, we understand. I'm assuming it will be an event where adults going to be at. You understand? But would those protocols be implied, or was that a conversation within the GFA?
Well, like I said, it's an international event, so sale of alcohol in bottles there is strictly prohibited.
Okay.
Yes. So all sale of alcohol, and in fact, GFA would be controlling the bars. The bars on the inside. Mm-hmm. So the vending that is permitted or is contracted would be for the food, the food section.
Okay.
As far as I understand.
Right. I guess GFA would the one had conversation with the vendors already to do's and don'ts that they would not like.
Yes. But as I said, you have those that piggyback. Mm-hmm. They just jump on the event and they come and set up things all over the place. That it would be strictly prohibited, and we're warning persons who are coming to vend outside of the event that this is an international event and there should be no selling in bottles. If you're allowed to vend within that area that Troy Paul would specify, no selling of alcohol in bottles. And that brings me to the issue of the prohibited items again. So no bottles would be allowed for patrons coming into the event. Mm-hmm. You will be screened. You would not be allowed to enter with your bottler class coat or your Rivers or what have you. Mm-hmm. This is a football event, and it's not a Soca Monarch show or party event. So we expect persons to comply with the restrictions that are put for the event. Weapons of any kind, knives, as I said, the glass bottles. I didn't speak to this one. The apparatus that emits flames, that is strictly prohibited. So do not come with big gun spray and things of that sort to create flames. These items are strictly prohibited. All right.
Okay. All right. So that now, I'm assuming individuals who are listening this morning would like to know the actual start time in terms of when individuals will be allowed to enter the stadium. What are the police? How has that been implemented? How would that be implemented?
All right. So the event, the football match is scheduled to start at 8 p.m. However, the gates would be open from 5 p.m. Mm-hmm. From 5 p.m. The police would be on the ground as early as 3 p.m., 4 p.m., and taking up security positions. And in fact, we have over about 60 police officers that would be deployed to ensure that the security of the event is executed to the highest the standards.
Another question I want to ask, folks maybe of course, maybe thinking about that, the entry, in terms of movement. You know, folks feel that they come in and when they get into the stadium, I want to go back outside for a bit. Is there anything that prohibited about that in terms of the movement?
Yes. When you deal with an international event, that's a no-no. Yeah. You enter and yes.
So like your exit is final. You exit, you may have to go.
Exit is final.
Your exit is final.
An international event of this nature also, a CONCACAF, is termed as what is called a seated event. So yes, we understand. You asked the question earlier about behavior. It's football, and if a goal is scored, you'd expect hands to go up, jumping, and so on. That's understood. But generally, it's termed as a seated event. So persons are expected to sit and watch the game. But more so, what we seriously concerned about is the passageway. The passageway must be free, remain free. Persons will not stand in passageways. Right. So these are some of the things that we'll be focusing on. The officers will be focusing on.
Would there be any implementation of patrons, sectionized areas for patrons? I mean, there are people who come in that party mood. If we could put it in that way. Are there any plans in the planning out of the event? Was there any conversation about the area where individuals who may want to come and sit down and look at the game, but there may be individual who may want to cheer at a different level for their team, whether they're back in the U.S. or Grenada? Has there been any thought plan for that? So individuals, hey, if I'm going to be cheering or misbehaving, I'm not encouraging it, but for my team, I would be permitted to sit there or sit here or be on that particular area. How if you get rid of the bleachers area where folks will be more and then more the seating area?
Well, the seating area, there's no party area within the seated area. The posse stand, as it is called, is designated for that type of activity, and that would be available. In fact, the tickets are being sold for that area and the secondary stand. And also the secondary stand, there would be nearly all of the entrances for that stadium would be activated. So the secondary stand, I think there are 2 entrances there. Persons would be allowed. That's on the cricket side, the cricket stadium side. Yeah, persons would be allowed to enter. Who have tickets for that stand would be allowed to enter there through those entrances.
What about crowd control in terms of after the event? What are some of the protocols being put in place for that? Did you know after the event everybody wants to leave? Is there any control mechanism that put in place?
Thanks for popping that one. Yes, we've considered all of that, and some arrangements are put in place for the buses because we anticipate a lot of patrons would come by bus for this event because the event would end at 10 p.m. Thereabout. So to get people out of the venue, we've provided for the buses to utilize the ring road. The ring road around the stadium. Buses would parking in those areas so that we can get people out of the area in the shortest possible time and the safest way.
All right, interesting. So, folks, that's some of the, of course, security protocols that have been mentioned there a while ago. And we go to Officer Constable Paul. Yeah. I'll just need to mess your name, right? Anyway, good morning once again. Let's talk a little bit about the traffic arrangements that will be implemented. When the game coming up, there's always going to be an issue where traffic will be a level of concern from the Royal Grenada Police Force. What are some of the concerns that you'll be having, and what are some of the arrangements that will be put in place when it comes around there?
Yes, so good morning again to all your listeners. And as we know, we are with the excitement of the Grenada versus USA match at the Athletic Stadium. And the traffic department has its responsibility as well. And we have a mandate to ensure that persons get to the venue and adequate parking at the venue is provided for patrons and also the teams attending who will be at the game. And as a result, a traffic plan was devised to ensure the smooth operation for teams and persons attending the game. Some of our responsibilities are to ensure that teams and persons attending the game do so with no unnecessary obstructions. Persons are provided with adequate parking. Also, we're there to ensure that persons comply with signs and directions at the venue. And also to the safety and security of the vehicles parked at the venue as well. But yes, we do have a traffic plan, and I will dive right into that traffic plan to let persons know what they can do, where they have to pass, where places that are deemed to be no entry, places that are deemed to be no parking, and all other aspects of the traffic arrangement so that persons will be up to date as they enter the venue. So the general public is hereby notified that the following traffic arrangement will be in effect for the CONCACAF Nations League football match, Grenada versus the United States. It says all vehicular traffic entering the National Stadium will use the Queen's Park Ring Road from its intersection with Cherry Hill, Mount Rush, or Humback Bridge.
All right.
Yes. So we're going to dive straight into places that are deemed to be no entry. All vehicular traffic will not be allowed in the following areas. Old Fort Public Road from its junction with Lucas Street. You will not be able to enter from going up by PBC area, that from Lucas Street, Old Fort Junction.
Okay.
Cemetery Hill from its junction with Church Street. So if you come from Church Street, you will not be able to go down onto Cemetery Hill from that direction.
So that's practically a no entry area.
Yes,
no entry.
and later on I will tell you why is a no entry, because it's also part of the emergency route.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The ring road from its junction with Mount Rush Public Road to the direction of the Humback Bridge. So all these areas are deemed to be no entry if you want to access the venue from those directions. So if you're coming up from Lucas Street, you'll not be able to make that right turn onto Old Fort. If you're coming up Church Street, you'll not be able to make that left turn to go down to Cemetery Hill. And if you're coming from the River Road direction, you'll not be able to make that right on Humback Bridge to enter the National Stadium area.
Okay.
Persons are wondering where they can park.
I guess that's going to be a level of concern, knowing the magnitude that we expected in terms of the crowd who will be coming to view the game.
Yes. So we have parking places so that persons can park for various persons. So I will start with VVIP and VIP, and officials will be allowed to park on the concrete area in front of the Kirani Athletics Stadium.
Okay.
So as you enter the ring road from the Cherry Hill direction, that first right you make, you enter it's for VIP, VVIP, and officials in that area. The general public will be allowed to park in gate 6 in the vicinity of the cricket nets area, and also Wesley College playing field. So that will be our general parking area, gate 6, and also the Wesley College playing field.
All right.
So we tell you where you can park. We must tell you where you cannot park, and that is very, very important. As the superintendent would have stated earlier on, it's an international game, and we cannot have persons parking all over the place and persons accessing the venue and so forth. They cannot do so because they're obstructed by persons parked in places that are prohibited and so forth. And remember, we must leave an emergency route and so forth. So no parking will be allowed in the following areas on either side of the road. Melville Street from the Fish Market right up to Cherry Hill.
Okay. No parking.
No parking.
Okay.
And when we say no parking, we mean no parking. Queen's Park Road from its junction with the Green Bridge to the National Stadium.
All right.
River Road from Ellie Postle Lumber Yard to right down to Lacqua, the Keep Left roundabout area there. So that whole area, if you come from Melville Street, from Keep Left, go right up to Ellie Postle Lumber Yard, will be no parking as well.
Right.
Mount Rush Public Road from its junction with the Ring Road. National Stadium main entrance public way from the Green Bridge. The main entrance to the National Stadium. And also the National Stadium Ring Road. That's the area green, and that whole road will be deemed no parking.
No parking.
Yes.
All right.
And as I stated too, when we say no parking, we mean no parking.
All right.
So we tell you.
So I mean, I understand all the no parking, the parking, the end where you are permitted to of course no entry where you're allowed to enter the
Yes.
stadium and so forth. That has been taken care of, and of course you comprehensively mentioned it. So I'm assuming the listeners in the US certainly do understand that. I hope you can leave a copy of that to me. I don't mind mention it as I go along for the morning, because sometimes it needs to be repeated so that folks will probably understand, remember it.
Definitely.
So
Yes.
probably you can leave a copy of me, but as the morning progresses, I could certainly mention it again.
Most definitely.
All right. Now, Superintendent George did mention the venue that will be allocated for individual, or the area that will be allocated for individual to vend, and he said that you will actually speak about that. Tell us about where individual will be permitted to vend from the traffic department point of view.
Yes. So what we don't want is that no vending will be allowed along the Queen's Park Road from Kipplef roundabout to the main entrance of the National Stadium, or any other area in the vicinity of the National Stadium, which includes the Ring Road. So no parking as you enter from Kipplef. That whole area go right to the entrance of the National Stadium, and also the Ring Road, which we made mention of earlier on. That's the area.
No vending.
No vending whatsoever will be in that area.
Because we know there's always been that a little allocated area where individuals will be vending on a regular. So that will be a no-no this time.
That will be a no-no.
All right.
And sometimes most persons like to use the Green Bridge area for vending. That would not be allowed at this time.
All right. Has there been any interaction with individuals who do vend there? Have there any interaction with them to let them know that that's the vendors coming up and they will be permitted to do so?
Well, we definitely have to do our groundwork to ensure that persons adhere to those rules and regulations and instructions as well, and so that we wouldn't have any unforeseen hiccups and so forth.
Individual will come and say, well, I didn't know, and
definitely.
So not everybody may be listening to this show this morning.
Yes.
You understand?
So we definitely have to do some engagements and speaking to persons who normally vend in that area to let them know that they would not be able to on that particular day. So that those areas that I've mentioned, persons would not be able to vend in it. So they can vend beyond those points.
Okay.
But persons must be mindful that if you have to do and you have to vend beyond those points, you must do so in the most appropriate way, not causing any obstruction to traffic. And if you're vending and your patrons are causing obstructions to the free roadway and parking in areas that are deemed to be no parking, we will be forced to maybe move you or relocate you once it poses a challenge to us, the traffic department.
Superintendent George did speak about individuals who will be permitted to vend within the vicinity of the National Stadium, the component of the stadium. Where individuals who may not want to vend within there, where will they be permitted to vend if there are individuals who wants to vend?
As I stated to, beyond those points that I've explained to, so persons may look to set up beyond the prohibited vending areas that I've alluded to. Yes. Once they find an appropriate place, that's what I stated, that once it's not causing any obstruction and patrons are not parking in areas that are deemed no parking.
Right. I thought that the organizer will implement a particular space that would say, folks who wants to vend, who out of the venue will be permitted to vend, but that has not had that.
Based on my recollection, information, I have no such information of that.
Okay. We drew for a break. Let's take it. We come back and we should chat some more. I think there's lots more pointers we need to throw. For those of you listeners out there, if you do have a question or two that you would like to ask, feel free to do so in the next segment coming up. It's 20 minutes moving out before the top of the hour, to the point here on Classic 105 and GBN TV. We coming right back.
That's not how you cross the pedestrian crossing.
Really? One day I just woke up and I saw pedestrian crosswalks on the road. No one really showed me how to use them properly.
Well, this is how it's done. You never cross before doing these things. They might save your life. First, when you get to the crosswalk, you stop. You look left, you look right. If there's a vehicle coming, you put your hand out, making eye contact with the driver, indicating that you want to cross. And only when the vehicle comes to a complete stop, you quickly cross to the other side.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact. Wait for pedestrian to cross to the other side, then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
It is important to know what your road signs and markings means. The zigzag lines means you should not park in the marked area. Parking is allowed inside the solid white lines on the edge of the road. Remember, look out for pedestrians. Pedestrians, be sure the vehicle comes to a complete stop before crossing. These tips can save your life. These tips can make our roads safer for all users. Be safe, be seen, be smart. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
You know, one day I woke up and, you know, they painted a set of pedestrian crossing all along the streets. You know, nobody told us how to use that thing properly.
I know how.
You're serious?
Every safe, good driver knows about these things. As a driver, you have to be very attentive. You know you're coming up close to a pedestrian cross, you start slowing down immediately, looking to see if there's any pedestrian on the side getting ready to cross. If there is, you stop on the line that is a certain distance before the crosswalk. Then you would see the pedestrian put their hands out, looking directly at you, indicating that they are going to cross. And only when you have come to a complete stop, that is when they will quickly and safely cross to the other side. And then you continue happily on your journey.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact, wait for pedestrian to cross. Then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
Coughs and sneezes spread diseases. So cover coughs and sneezes, please. Not with a rag or bandana. They trap germs. When you use the rag again, you put germs on your hands and everything else you touch. When you cough or sneeze, cover your mouth and nose with tissue. Throw the tissue in a bin and wash your hands afterwards. If you don't have a tissue, cough into your sleeve or elbow. Alcohol-based hand sanitizers are also effective in cleaning hands.
Welcome back to our listeners and viewers once again. It's To The Point for today, Thursday, the 23rd day of March. And this morning, of course, I'm engaged with the members of the Royal Grenada Police Force. We're talking about the security measures that will be implemented, the traffic arrangements for the upcoming match between Grenada, football match between Grenada and the United States. We're going to continue in this segment with Constable Paul in terms of the... You spoke a lot. You spoke, but we didn't get much details about it when you were speaking about it. In terms of the emergency route that you know folks may have to adhere to, just in case you know there's an emergency, which we hope that nothing of that nature occurs, that it even have to be used. But of course, I know in terms of the protocol, it has to be implemented. You understand? Tell us about the emergency route.
Yes, so as you stated too, we must implement an emergency route. One of the fastest way to get out of the stadium if someone have an emergency, especially if they have to be taken to the general hospital to seek medical attention. So one of the reasons that I stated for persons not accessing the Cemetery Hill route is because that will be part of our emergency route. So our emergency route from the National Stadium to the General Hospital. So you leave from the Queen's Park area, you head on to Cemetery Hill, you go down to Church Street, onto Granite Road, and then you enter the hospital. Okay. The fastest way there.
All right, great. All right.
So you see now,
route, and it could be an effective route also.
Definitely. So you see now why we do not prohibit persons from accessing the Cemetery Hill onto the River Road side.
Okay, understandable.
So that is our emergency route.
All right. Now, we still on the aspect of traffic arrangements, and we know from time to time there are folks who want to break the law for some reason or the other. You understand? What are some of the of course, the traffic department implementing, just in case individuals who really say, hey, they say no parking, but I'm going to park. They say no entry, but I'm going to enter, and whatever. What are some of the the protocols that you folks will be implementing just in case individual who decide I'm going to break the law for whatever reason?
Yes. So the traffic department will be out in our full glory, making sure that persons adhere to our traffic signs, ensure they adhere to whatever that is prohibited in relation to traffic. So as we stated, no parking will be no parking. Persons parked in those areas will be, and I want to enforce, will be clamped or towed. We will have our mobile patrols patrolling the immediate area of the national stadiums and surrounding areas to ensure that persons comply with those instructions and directions. Failure to, as I stated to, you will be clamped or towed. We also have our record service at the venue, at the stadium, patrolling those areas to ensure that persons are complied. So if you park in areas and you come back and you do not see your vehicle, call the traffic department. We may have your vehicle there, so ensure that you have the necessary fees, and you will be able to pay the necessary fees to ensure that your vehicle released. And according to Section 30 of the Road Traffic Act, once you park in those areas and your vehicle is towed or clamped, in the process of clamping or towing, the Royal Grenada Police Force will not be responsible for any damages caused once it is not willfully or negligently done.
Okay.
So if we tell you do not park in that area, please adhere to it, because you will be towed or you will be clamped at your own expense.
All right. Well, we certainly hope individuals follow those protocols and information that are spoken about. Anything else that folks should adhere to in just of the traffic arrangements that we probably didn't touch?
Yes, the superintendent made mention to it in relation to persons after the game. Persons want to get home. We see a trend where buses will come and line up along the Queen's Park Public Road, along the Cherry Hill Public Road for persons going to the various directions. That would be not allowed this time around.
Okay. I guess will there be a time factor that you will permit it to be there for when the probably a couple minutes before after games finish?
At no point in time, as I've made mention, persons will be, because those areas will be prohibited. So we've made allocations for buses if persons want to get home, so that buses will be parked along the Queen's Park Ring Road, and we utilize one side of the Queen's Park Ring Road where we will allow buses to pass, so that persons will access the buses to get at their home safely.
Well, I did ask that question in terms of when I said will there be a allotted time for them to do so, or you know?
Well, after the game, we will control that aspect when we see it fit from the traffic department, because in the process we still don't want to have any traffic congestion. So everything will be done. It will be done in an orderly fashion. It will be controlled by members of the traffic department.
I mean, in terms of general information for individuals who will be coming to the game, you know, what would you like to encourage, you know, carpooling just to ease the congestions of traffic? Would you encourage carpooling? Folks maybe use public transport instead of having to accommodate just them alone in their vehicle. That you understand? Yeah. Well, is there any suggestions of that nature you'd like to throw out?
Well, we anticipate a large crowd, as the superintendent stated earlier on. The main stand tickets are already sold out. And as the excitements get closer, persons will get their ticket, and we'll see a lot of persons. And we want to advise maybe park and walk parking, or use Ariza parking if once available, and other areas, because it will be congested. Persons will expect a little delay once everyone is trying to park at the same time. So if persons come early, they can get their park and going and so forth. However, we advise, if you have to carpool, please do so, because remember, there will be limited parking for the amount of persons that maybe want to attend with their vehicles and so forth. So if you can ride with somebody and so forth. Also, I want to make mention to persons who have their respective passes, especially if you have a VIP pass, or official pass, whatever pass. Please walk with your passes, because remember, as I said, it's an international game. If it does not have the proper accreditation, you will not be allowed, especially if you have a specific parking place or so forth. So please walk with your accreditation.
Okay,
if you don't have it, you will not be able to park. That is how strict we are in relation to that.
Right. We do have someone been calling there for a wee bit. I guess they want to chime in on this conversation this morning. I guess we lost that individual. Folks, if you have a question or two that you would like to ask the officers, feel free to do so. 435-2041. It's to the point for today, Thursday. We have just approximately 10 more minutes left on today's show. We'll be speaking pertaining to the games that will be played between Grenada, that football match, I should say, between Grenada and United States. And we talk about, of course, Constable, they talk about the traffic arrangement. We also had Superintendent George talking about the security aspects that you were asked to follow and so forth. Let's entertain our caller this morning. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, GT.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, I'm a senior citizen, and I heard all what the officers said about the games, the international games. I agree with it, no problem. But one thing I have a problem with is in walking in St. George's and with the vendors on the sidewalks, which poses a serious problem for us every day.
Caller, but I think your question is still not relating to what we're talking about this morning. I understand, but caller, please understand. We're talking about the arrangements for the football game coming. Traffic, the vendors in the tongue of St. George has nothing to do with this at this time. So you may have to call us back at another time with something that is relevant to what we're speaking about this morning. You understand? There's no need to go off track with a conversation of that nature. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Yes, sir. Do you hear it?
Yes, go right ahead with your question if you do have one.
Yes, sir. I have a comment, and maybe you or the policeman could answer it. Now, often here, people use, especially police and people like them, use the word they wrecking a vehicle. To me, you could answer it to the police. Wreck gives me a certain idea, a connotation. So when you say you wreck a vehicle, that seems to me that you're likely, or you know what you are doing, you're likely to damage it. And I always wonder, why is it that they should use the word wreck? And if we use the word wreck, then maybe you did it willfully. Because if one finds anything wrong with the vehicle, or they could claim something wrong with it, even if there is something wrong with it already, I think then you have the responsibility, whoever it is, when I say you, it could be government or whoever it is, to pay for the wrecking, underline the word wrecking and put it in inverted commas, the wrecking of the vehicle. So I want when people talking, or when some of us talking, I include myself, that we would likely to use the appropriate word. Thank you very much. Any one of you all could comment.
Thank you, caller. Thank you there. I'm not sure if anyone wants to comment on the...
Thank you very much, caller. For want of a better word, tow away or towing. I get where you're coming from, but however, using our local words and so forth, but I will respect your view. So from the word wrecking, we'll change it to tow away or towing. And mind you, no police officer in his right frame of mind will willfully cause damage to anybody's vehicle when in the process of towing away that vehicle. And as I stated too, once it is willfully or negligently done, we will be responsible. But however, once it is not so, we are not responsible for any damages caused.
All right. Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, GT. How you do?
I'm doing fine. Good morning.
All right. Talking police, good morning. Talking police, good morning.
Good morning
to you. Talking police, good morning.
Good morning to you as well. I remember the voice. We spoke in person the last time.
I called specific this morning to say congratulations to you on two things. I see you have a flash in your wedding, your ring. So I assume you get married. So I want to say congratulations to you. And if you just flash in the ring because of a ring, remove it from there. But however, officer, I called to say that I'm impressed the way you grew. I want to remember in the earlier days when you come to the to that show, and maybe you used to fumble a little and cannot explain properly. Don't take it badly, that's what you're trying to say, but no, you have grown, explaining, speaking thoroughly, and I must say congratulations. I'm proud of you. Keep it up, and don't forget, if that ring doesn't mean what you say, take it off from there. And I want to ask the superintendent a question. Superintendent, good morning.
Pleasant good morning to you.
I want to ask you if you bought your ticket already for the show.
Commanding officer for the show, so I'll be there.
You have a ticket already?
She was asking if you do have a ticket already.
For the show, so I'll be present.
So can you give me one, please, or two? Just come back and leave it with GT.
Tickets are with FA.
All right, you have a good one.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
All right, 435-2041. We have approximately 5 minutes before we wrap. I'm not sure if there's any final comments you'd like to make, Superintendent, George, and a bit of just let folks know to follow the instruction that we mentioned this morning, adhere to the rules and regulations as we move forward.
Before I get into that, I just want to chime in on the word wrecking, or that word comes from the term wrecker, and I would advise the gentleman to do a little bit of research, because a wrecker is a tow-away vehicle, so the term wrecking is quite appropriate, and it's a lawful term. All right, but we understand where you're coming from, so we'll soften it using tow-away. But it is fit and proper in every legal aspect, and from the dictionary standpoint.
All right.
Yes. I just want to reiterate and encourage patrons coming to the game to pay attention to the security arrangements. No prohibited items. The prohibited items: no large coolers, no glass bottles, no big flags, no apparatus that emit flames, no weapons of any kind. Come prepared to enjoy the game and give your fully support to whichever team that you're supporting. I am Grenada, a former footballer, national player, so I'm hooting for Grenada. So we look forward to you coming and being a part of a great atmosphere, and Grenadians are giving a good showing as always, and to put emulate Grenada in the eyes of the international committee. Thank you.
All right, Constable Paul, any final closing remarks?
Yes. With the traffic plan outlined, we just want persons to work with us. And comply with the restrictions in terms of no parking, restrictions in relation to no entry, and also vending. We want persons to comply, and once we do so, we will make the event a successful one, and at the end of the day, we can proudly say that we've hosted a great event, and at the end, persons leaving the event can get home safely. And at the end of the day, we've all done our part from the Royal Grenada Police Force to ensure persons, even those driving, get home safely.
All right. I want to thank both of you officers for being here this morning, and certainly appreciate the information shared. I certainly hope that the listening and viewing public adhere to the rules and regulations, from the traffic regulations, from the safety protocols that will be implemented, and we just hope for a successful game, and whoever turns out to be the winner, as Superintendent say, I guess we're Grenadians, so we're rooting for Grenada. Understand? So thanks once again, and until we have another, of course, opportunity to talk to the Royal Grenada Police Force here to the point, I want to thank both of you for being here. Thanks once again.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, folks, that's where we take a wrap for today's program here on To The Point. Join me again tomorrow for another edition of To The Point. For those of you who participated somewhere or other, whether it's via phone call, your comments via the Facebook page. I know I didn't get most of the comments in from the Facebook page this morning. My apology for that. I will probably take that on tomorrow. Have yourself a great day. What's left? Have a good one. This is where I say goodbye. Have a good one, folks. Goodbye.